Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. It's now time to take a look at news stories making headlines around the globe. We begin in Nigeria, where the Senate on Wednesday rose from a 6-hour debate on the spike in insecurity in Nigeria with a call on President Muhammadu Buhari to declare a national security emergency in the country. The worrisome security situation also engaged the attention of the House of Representatives, which at plenary on Wednesday unanimously demanded the resignation of service chiefs for suboptimal performance. The House requested the president to sack them if they fail to heed the call to resign. The lawmakers also promised to enact laws to give legal support to the Southwest Security Initiative, Amotekun, and similar outfits that may be set up by states. It also summoned the Inspector General of Police, Mr. Mohammed Adamu, to appear before it at plenary on Wednesday next week to discuss the modus operandi of the introduction of community policing in the country. Well, it's so sad that it has come to this call by the legislators for the service chiefs to resign. It's always better to jump rather than being pushed. They're supposed to have been employed on a 2-year tenure. They were employed as service chiefs in July 2015, so 2 years will take them to 2017. And the President and Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces has the discretion of extending their tenure by another 2 years, which takes them to 2019. So really, they ought to have made this move on their own. And this I find mortifyingly embarrassing for the service chiefs and for the president, this absolute vote of no confidence by both houses. And there was even a call by the Senate minority leader, Eniyana Abaribe, asking the president to resign because of this abysmal failure to curtail the security challenges we're having in this country. It really has come to this point. And you also have the Amotekun controversy that happened with the Attorney General declaring it unlawful, and the kind of pushback, the kind of vehement pushback that he got, because the fact of the matter is, even though everybody agrees that all I's were not dotted and all T's crossed, lives are being lost every day. So the government really needs to pay heed to the growing clamor in this country, this profound sense of dissatisfaction. And yesterday we heard that the president is surprised by the level of violent crime. I said, I'm surprised and really that he's surprised. Yes. And it's all just showing just a total lack of capacity. And it has become an emergency. And I do hope that the usual response is not what we get. The usual response of just knee-jerk dismissal of anything that's remotely critical. This is the fact of the matter. People are not sleeping safely in their beds with both eyes closed. Yeah.
Well, first, let us commend the members of the National Assembly in both chambers, the Senate and the House of Representatives, for focusing on an issue of great concern to Nigerians on their return from their 5-week recess. Obviously, the lawmakers going on recess, visiting their various constituencies, are in a sense giving Nigerians a feedback of what they saw, what they probably also experienced when they went on recess. And they are right in the regard that, look, security is a major challenge for Nigerians, whether they are in the north or the east or the west or the south, in the country. And of course, we also must commend Senator Yahaya Abdullahi, who was the one who brought up on the floor of the Senate a motion for discussion on the need to review and revise and amend the security architecture in the country. And that was the trigger for the debate that took place on the floor of the Senate in particular yesterday. Now, unanimously, the senators condemned the security situation in the country. They think that it is not working, and they think that the president particularly needs to do a lot more. They ended up setting up a 17-man ad hoc committee to engage with the various security agencies and to report back to Senate in 2 weeks. But I think, they are also aware that the presidency or the government, the executive arm, may not heed their advice. And hence, Senator Ahmed Lawan, the Senate president, was saying, well, members of the Senate should pray. This is not about prayer. I don't know where that came from.
There's been a previous report that was ignored.
Yes, this should not be about prayer. It should be about, supporting the government, getting the government of the day to get the job done and to live up to the constitutional responsibility to ensure the security and welfare of everybody living within the territory that is known as Nigeria. Now, the Senate also discussed the issue of state police. And on this matter, you know, they were divided. The support for it was as strong as the opposition to it. But I think what triggered that, of course, is the Amotekun. At the end of the day, they all together, you know, expressed support for the emergence of similar outfits in other parts of Nigeria. Third, Senator Enyinnaya Abaribe also yesterday, speaking on behalf of the PDP caucus in the National Assembly, he is the minority leader, said that, well, the buck stops at President Buhari's desk, and that President Buhari should resign, because one of the reasons, in his view, expressing the opinion of PDP members, is that when he was elected in 2015 and again in 2019, the belief was that being a retired general, he would be able to find a solution to the security problems in the country. And that to the extent that he has failed, then, of course, you know, he should step down, and that there is too much propaganda around the issue of insecurity in the country. Senator Enyinnaya Abaribe has since been attacked by presidential spokesman Garuba Shehu, who says that he's an armchair critic and that he was making a stray comment, and that if anybody should resign, it should be Senator Abaribe, who unlocked the doors for the escape of the IPOB leader, Nnamdi Kanu. And I think, you know, it's not everything that the executive arm of government should respond to. Enyinnaya Abaribe was speaking under privilege, parliamentary privilege, and to take him up and call him names and accuse him of being an armchair critic, and that, in fact, he should be in prison for making such comments, I think it's a bit overboard. You know, and I hope that Senator Enyinnaya Abaribe will not become a target of persecution, you know, by the executive arm of government. I mean, he's been a senator, you know, offers him the privilege to speak in the manner in which he has done so. Yeah. And then, of course, out of the Senate, the House of Representatives, coincidentally, also discussed national security. And they recommended that the service chiefs should go. And this is a position that has also been held by many Nigerians, that President Buhari, in rejigging the security architecture, may need to consider, you know, the personnel, the team. But is it about individuals? Could there be other issues about welfare, about procedure, about effort, about commitment, about political will? These are other issues that we need to consider. But yesterday, we had pointed out that President Buhari himself has reassured everyone that the government will work harder. The Nigerians have been reassured almost on a weekly basis. What they want to see is a difference. What they want to see is action and progress.
Absolutely, and it's such a shame, because the primary essence of any government is security and welfare of your people. And organizations, large organizations like One, actually report that government is actually supposed to be in charge of 80% of any citizen's welfare and security. Fact of the matter is, security has failed. Government has failed to keep its citizens safe, and something has to be done. Yes, Tundu, I completely agree. This vote of no confidence by both houses is actually extremely embarrassing. It really is. And what's even more shocking is the fact that we were told about 2 weeks ago that they had a revised security strategy, and that's what we're supposed to be putting into practice. Yet here we are, actually looking at the situation and discussing a new security strategy again. That means we don't know what we're doing. It really doesn't. It means we don't know what we're doing. And we've said this before and again. The fact that certain people are not safe in this country means that none of us are safe. We've had reports of very important persons, in quotes, that have either been kidnapped, killed, etc. And it shows that none of us are safe. Something has to be done. Something really does have to be done. And I'm tired of saying that. I think we all are at this point. That's the worst part.
Thank you, Leila. I need a link for this, what you just cited, the 80%.
Yes,
you know what? Yes. I could cry. Because
that was quoted
we're so far below that.
Thank you.
In this country.
Thank you. It was quoted by the executive director of the One organization in Nigeria, Sarah Maka. 80% of government's of security and welfare should be provided by governments.
It's more like 10% here.
Honestly.
We'll take a short break and we'll be back with more news headlines. Do stay with us. Welcome back to the morning show here on Arise News. We're still on news headlines. Nigeria and the island of Jersey will soon sign an agreement with the United States government for the repatriation of $321 million looted by Sani Abacha, former head of state. The island of Jersey, a British Crown dependency, is self-governed and has its own financial and legal systems and its own courts of law. While addressing reporters after the Federal Executive Council meeting, Abubakar Malami, Attorney General of the Federation, said efforts were being made to recover the money. He said the funds, which will be repatriated from the island of Jersey within 3 months, will be deployed for the construction works on Lagos to Ibadan Highway in the southwest, Abuja to Kano in the north, and a second Niger bridge across the Niger River in the eastern parts of the country. Well, yeah, so it's been put to good use. There's also been Abacha loot used for that National Cash Transfer Program, where the poorest of the poor are given handouts by the federal government. So I suppose these are the efforts that the government refers to when they when they took such umbrage at the Transparency International report, that they really are making a huge effort with regards to corruption, although this level of corruption occurred way before the advent of this present administration. So it's good news, and it will be very important for the media and civil society organizations to track how this repatriated funds are spent so that they do not get re-looted, which is often the fear. And there's also, I believe, 6.8 million euros being expected to be repatriated from James Ibori's loot. And then a yacht belonging to Kola Aluko, an associate of Desiani's, is expected to be sold and the proceeds used for Nigerians.
Lovely.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, two things here. The first is, each time you hear about, repatriation of loot, it points to the extent of corruption in Nigeria since independence. And if you look at the cumulative figure from independence, it's very scary. And that's why every attempt by government to tackle corruption, to get, looted funds or assets repatriated should be commended. And I think that in this regard, the Nigerian government signing a tripartite asset sharing agreement with regard to, looted funds and assets with the island of Jersey, the United States, and then Nigeria, it's something that we should be glad about. However, as you've pointed out, the major concern is about transparency and accountability. Quite a number of NGOs have had cause over time to go to court to urge the Nigerian government to do full disclosure, not just full disclosure, but also, to account for repatriated funds. The mismanagement of, those funds has been a source of concern. The failure to declare assets that have been, taken back, either locally or internationally, has also been a major source of concern for many NGOs asking for transparency and accountability. It is also good news to hear that, there's going to be a focus on the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway, a project that has been on for so long. Sometimes you would think that you need some kind of magic to solve that problem.
Honestly.
And then also the second Niger bridge, which has been more or less abandoned. There's been so much political talk around it. If indeed, effort is going to be made to conclude that project, that of course will gladden the hearts of many Nigerians in the east and the south-south, because that's a major, highway linking two major parts of the country. And then of course the Abuja-Kano road. We would like to measure this in terms of what is delivered from this repatriation of looted funds.
Well, be rest assured that we will be keeping track. Anyway, let's head over to Aaron Akerejala, who, of course, is here to give us the news and sports today. I know you're not going to be talking about your loss yesterday.
It's almost a case of winning the... Good morning, Doctor.
Good morning.
Although she's putting on a red to signify Manchester United.
Of course.
And today you're looking beautiful in green.
There comes the poem.
You missed it.
I told her I won earlier. I was going to get a lot of poetry.
Let's actually, a lot has been happening in the world of sports, and so much has still been evolving around the demise of Kobe Bryant, and a lot of steps are being taken to see how they can probably and maybe solidify that and maybe immortalize the young gentleman who actually passed away. And one of them is the fact that a petition to use Kobe Bryant's image, as the new logo for the NBA has more than 2 million signatures as we speak. Kobe Bryant, of course, we all know him, passed away, and is one of the all-time greatest players in the NBA, and spent 20 years with the LA Lakers. And let's tell you that the change.org said that the petition, which supports such, have been backed by celebrities like Justin Bieber, Snoop Dogg, Usher, and is the fastest growing on its website and the first petition of 2020 to top the 1 million signatures. It sounds good on paper, but that's, in my own opinion, it's irrelevant, as a matter of fact, because when you look at the entirety of the logo of every organization is very, very symbolic. People lose lives. I mean, lives are being lost on a given, almost every day. And we get to see some great lives being lost. If at every given point in time, changes are being made to logos when a great life is lost, then at the end of then it will water down the logo. As a matter of fact, put it into context, with all that has been seen, Jerry West is the man that is actually on the NBA logo. It has had this alteration over the years. They've tried to funkify it, bring in more color to it. It was done in 1963, and as I speak right now, that logo itself, as it is, earns the NBA $3 billion annually. And some people feel it should be Kobe Bryant. So what happens when one of the greatest basketballers of all time, Michael Jordan, dies? Would they say it should be changed to Michael Jordan?
Stop speaking like that.
Because the question is, some things, you do not just push some things. Quite all right, he's done so much for the NBA.
But it's very symbolic for the Lakers. I actually think that it would be a fresh and good change. I think, like you said, 1963.
Yes. We're not talking about the Lakers logo.
I know, the NBA logo, but think about it. I mean, I feel like Kobe's death is one of the first deaths in a long time that united so many people around the world. Like, regardless of so many intersectional systems of oppression, it's clear that Kobe was one of the greatest icons that we've had in sports, we've had in so many other things as well. So for me, it's more of a case of why not a case of why. Does that make sense? Like, I feel like, why not?
I think what we can hold on to is the fact that this is a demonstration of the grief, the universal grief that is shared over the death of Kobe Bryant. And, the people are mourning. And it's also an acknowledgement of his achievement, his distinction as one of the greatest basketball players of all times. I mean, winner of 5 NBA finals, 2-time Olympic champion, 2-time most valuable player. And in terms of the average, the points average, is right at the top of the ladder in that game. But the point is, the NBA itself has not said anything. You refer to Jerome West. Jerry West was put on that tricolor NBA logo in 1971. That's his, silhouette that you'll find there. And he's still alive. And, maybe the people who have done much better than him in the NBA finals will be Michael Jordan, will be Chamberlain.
Yes, and Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Hakeem Olajuwon.
No, those ones are not better than Jerry West.
We're talking about all-time greatest in the NBA.
No, in terms of the record. Okay, I'm saying in terms of the record, in terms of the ranking. Jerry West, after his achievements, then retired. And he also became a coach. Yes. A coach first of the LA Lakers. Yeah. And himself is an LA Laker legend. Yes. Yeah. And he's still alive, winner of the Presidential Medal of Freedom in 2019. So it will look a bit untidy while he's still alive to remove his silhouette from it.
Maybe when he passes.
Maybe when he passes.
I still say what happens to Michael Jordan. Arguably, the greatest basketballer ever is Michael Jordan. Yeah. And you look at that and you say, what happens when, God forbid, we're hoping nothing happens to him. He actually grows old and probably passes on. But you cannot say, even at that, you should not even still change the logo to say because Michael Jordan is basketball's greatest player. The most, save the NBA logo, the most popular logo in basketball after the NBA logo is the Michael Jordan, the Air Jordan logo. And yet, nobody, it will even be travesty to see what to even replace that.
It's nothing to, worry about, really. It's just about the affection.
Exactly.
I love the affection,
Yes.
but sometimes people should not just push some things.
No,
It's
because
pushing
some
it too
people
far.
would argue that for them, Kobe is their best player of all time. Now, that's what I'm trying to say to you. Doctor answered my why. It would look untidy. Tundu answered it as well. That's why I was saying why. But why not? Really and truly, if you think about it, people are expressing how they feel. I think that's what it's more about than who the greatest basketball player of all time is, if you get what I mean.
Okay, no problem. Let's see how it goes. The petition is still up and running. But
2
in the
million signatures
yes,
so far.
And
so
counting.
far. That's a lot, actually.
And to think that it was just a fan, a guy called Nick M, who put it up on change.org.
Yeah. I saw
and
one
then
of
it
30,000
traction.
signatures. And now,
No, it's over 2 million
yeah.
Now, before we go quickly, there is a player, a Colombia player who plays in the Scottish League, who right now is actually in fear because he actually came home while he was driving home. He saw his Lamborghini, actually a man under his Lamborghini, and Morales is his name, and he was driving home with his daughter when he saw a Lamborghini. He saw a man under his Lamborghini, and he was not sure what the man was doing under his Lamborghini. And this is a man who has actually faced quite a number of racial slurs and racial incidences in Scotland in the last few weeks. So Alfredo Morales coming back home to his house, driving with his pregnant wife, sees a man under the hood of his Lamborghini, not sure of what it was. The police have actually come in, they've taken the car, they say they want to do investigation, forensic investigation to be sure nothing was tampered, although they say they've not found any criminality at the moment.
How does a man fit under a Lamborghini? That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Yeah, it must be under the hood. Did he open the hood or he got under the car?
Under the car.
Wow.
But these are the things you get to see. We've been talking about fans probably taking the game and taking the obsession a little bit too far.
Yeah,
we spoke about Ed Woodward's house being invaded yesterday, and today we're seeing this happen. It's really, really sad.
Thank you.
Okay,
Aaron.
always a pleasure.
See you tomorrow.
That's all
Petition,
on
you
the
didn't
news
talk about
headlines.
the Manchester derby.
No, nothing to report. No, nothing to report.
There's a lot to report.